together since we were 17 years old, so we kind of did the American dream thing early. We got married, bought a house, and after about 7 years, we realized that we spent too many weekends on the couch doing nothing, so we decided to take sailing up as a hobby. And once Matt started researching it more, just the techniques of sailing, he came into blogs of people who would take their sailboats and travel either down to the Caribbean or around the world. And we decided that since there was really nothing tying us down at the time, why don't we just go for it? And we're going to make like a 3-year sail down to the Bahamas, parts of the Caribbean, come back and take up our life. But once we got out there for a few years, we were enjoying ourselves too much to actually come back, so we've made it our full-time lifestyle now.
Oh man, where do we start? We both had good jobs. We had the house together. We had all these different things. And what we were lacking though is time for her and I to be together, time to travel. And we just weren't our own boss. So that was the idea, was we were gonna to sell it all and go out sailing. And we were just gonna do it as a sabbatical. It was gonna be 2 years, maybe 3 years, something like that. But by the time you quit your job, by the time that you sell your house and you sell all your possessions, it makes it real difficult to just do 3 years. You've already so far invested that we decided to just keep going and going and going. Now we've been 9 years now.
9 years.
Yep, 9 years, and there is, I don't see an end anytime soon.
There's no turning back.
Yep, no turning back.
We actually started our trip from Lake Michigan, so being seasonal, it was very time dependent on when we could go to be able to get our boat out to the ocean and down safely.
Before it froze solid.
Before it froze or the winter storms set in, and we actually didn't end up selling our house until mid-October. So by then it was too late to leave that year. We actually put it on hold for another 9 months and lived with Matt's mother, who was very kind to take us in and let us stay in the spare room until the next summer came and we could toss off our lines.
Yeah, so we put in our 2 week, basically a month notice, gave my work so they could find someone else. And unfortunately I had to stay longer and longer and longer. So our departure date of, I think it was like June. Early June, ended up getting pushed back to the end of July, I believe. Something like August, yeah. But it worked out well, made some extra money, put a few extra bucks aside, and it worked out for the season anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We left from Lake Michigan in August of 2012, and from there we went through the Great Lakes and the Erie Canal, out New York Harbor, and down the east coast of the United States with the intention originally that we were going to sail all the way around the world in 3 years. But by the time we got through most of the Bahamas, we realized that we'd be rushing ourselves. So instead of doing that, we decided to slow down and just visit the places that we wanted to see, which ended up being, and I'll list them in order, Bahamas, Jamaica, Cuba, Cayman Islands, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize. When we put the boat up for hurricane season in Guatemala our first summer, we decided to hop on a plane and backpack through South America, which gave us the chance to see Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia before returning back to our boat and setting sail again, which is when we started heading north to Belize in Mexico. And then after coming back to Florida for a few months to prepare the boat for an ocean crossing, we left Miami to sail to Bermuda, stayed there for a little bit, and then ended up in the Azores, which is an island group off of the coast of Portugal. And while we were there, we purchased a different boat all the way back in Florida. So instead of heading to the Mediterranean, which was the plan, we actually started our way south down to the Canary Islands and prepped ourselves for another ocean crossing, which landed us in the Caribbean. We did St. Martin and then the British and Virgin Islands before making the jump back up to Florida to refit our aluminum boat with the goal of taking that to the Arctic.
Yep. Well, that list was the first boat. The second boat, after we did a 2.5-year refit in Florida, we ended up going back to the Bahamas. We did down to St. Bart's, St. Martin, Saba,
Antigua, back to St. Martin.
Back to St. Martin. Then we did back to Antigua, or no, back to St. Bart's, back to St. Martin again, and then we went to Bermuda.
No.
Oh no, we didn't do Bermuda.
You don't know.
We went to the Azores.
Yes.
The Azores to. Then we had to go. We had to leave Europe for a little bit, so we went to Thailand, Cambodia, and Indonesia. And then back to the Azores, and from there it was Ireland to Scotland to Norway, back to Scotland, back to Ireland, back to the UK, and then we ended up finally sold that boat, and now we're here building this new one.
The first boat was from 2012 until 2015, which carried us down to the Caribbean, across the Atlantic, and back to Florida. Our second boat, we finally launched it in 2017, took that up to the Arctic, and then finally sold it in England in the summer of 2020.
We sailed monohulls. First one was a fiberglass monohull, and then we knew we were taking the next boat to the Arctic Circle in ice, so we did an aluminum. We wanted metal for that. And after we were done with that, it was time to try something new.
Yes.
We looked at a few other options, but catamaran just kept calling to us. We wanted the space, we wanted the livability, and
we wanted a performance boat
boat. We wanted to get back some of that fun sailing part. And so we started looking at different catamaran models, looked at a bunch of used boats that needed refits. And once we finally did the math and figured how much money we'd spend on it, it actually became affordable, not really, but it came within closer to our budget to actually build a boat instead of just trying to refit an old one. When we decided to go with the catamaran, we ended up looking around, seeing all the available options. This particular boat fit every single category to perfection. It was exactly, it was out of my dreams.
It's what we always wanted, and we never knew that.
We never knew that.
But we never knew we always wanted.
So we placed an order for the kit. We are number one. We're the first ones attempting this with a new company, actually. So it took a lot of faith. And what gave us that confidence was spending a ton of time talking to the designer, the builder, getting an idea of exactly what they're about, and their level of customer service has just been phenomenal. But what they did is from the beginning, they started giving me all the different drafts, all the different ideas, kind of the basic manuals of how this thing's going to go together. And in the meantime, I did a lot more research as to what we needed to do from our end to fill in the blanks of our knowledge. And so far, it's kind of come together all right.
It's coming together,
yeah.
One step at a time. When we were leaving on our travels, we did document with a blog, but as things progressed, everybody was jumping over to YouTube, and we figured it was a great way to show our adventures instead of just talk about them. So we did start a YouTube channel in 2016 and have been posting regularly since then. The channel name is MJ Sailing. With the YouTube channel, we started it during our last refit, so it was documenting the process of bringing our old aluminum boat back to life. And then once we were on the water, it would capture our day-to-day life, things that we would do, passage planning, and our days out at sea. And now that we're in the catamaran build, it's actually documenting the process of building a boat.
Well, as we were coming back to the U.S., we knew we needed to find a site to build this boat. And our original plan was to start in like the Carolinas and start working our way south. But we came to visit a friend in Annapolis area. Absolutely fell in love with this region, and
Sailing Mecca?
Sailing Mecca. And he introduced us to Kent Island. Fell in love with Kent Island, and we ended up meeting Pete, the owner, and he showed us around. And this was just the perfect spot. It had everything we needed.
Absolutely
he was
everything.
Incredible. The rest of the staff is absolutely amazing, and all the people that we met here have been just so welcoming. We are about 15% through the build. What we anticipate for a launch date of the boat is sometime in 23.
The summer of 23 is what we're
Summer
aiming
of 23. So about 2 years is what we expect for a launch date. We will be documenting that at mjsailing.com and our YouTube channel, which is MJ Sailing as well. And thanks for joining us.
Yes, make sure to visit us.